And well, hello there everybody. So I've got these videos that I'm starting to do now, and what they are sort of like on the spot raw videos. And this will be the very first on the spot raw video that I'm doing. And the idea behind them is they're not what's called finessed videos where I'm literally just, okay, let's try that again. So I was talking about they're not finessed videos. I'm literally just picking my camera and sort of like letting you know my thoughts on stuff. Usually what I do is I have sort of like somewhat of an idea of what I want to talk about, and usually when I do that stuff, it's pretty straightforward stuff. It's like, you know, here's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to talk about my build, and in this case here, I just got to check here, okay? In this case here, I'm gonna tell you how I built it, where I got the materials. Usually like the standard van build video or update. So that's not what this is going to be. This is sort of like I'm just blurting it out there and throwing it out there and see what happens, unedited, unless of course I completely screw up. And if I can edit it or take it back, I will, because you know we all make mistakes. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. Is I made a mistake on Reddit, and boy did the troll army go after me at that point. For the most part, I like the Reddit community has been extremely supportive, helpful. Yeah, I always get almost every post I make, there's always some troll. There's always somebody that kind of like messages me or something, right? And I think that's to be expected. That's just part and parcel of how this stuff works, right? So anyway, the other day there was a big thunderstorm here, like just insane thunderstorm, okay? And I would even say it was a tornado, because what happened was trees fell, shingles, roof shingles were flying all over the place. Stuff was being moved around because it was that bad. So by the way, every so often I'm gonna pause this just to make sure. Yeah, there you go. So I paused it. I just wanted to turn it off. But oh, and the other thing too is when it comes to editing, the only editing I'm going to be doing is probably using a very simple mobile app that allows me to create quick edits, and then I'm going to upload it. And maybe later on I'll change it up a bit. I'm not sure, but it will not have a thumbnail. Excuse me. It will not have an outro or an intro. It literally is just me throwing it out there. So going back, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so I made a post on Reddit, and I think the titling was all wrong. So what had happened was there was that big thunderstorm, pretty much a tornado, shingles going all over the place, trees falling, and it was really, really bad. I mean, you couldn't see 1 feet in front of you. You had to pull over. There was just no way. And unfortunately, people lost their lives, and it was experienced all across Ontario. And so I made a post on Reddit that went something to the effect, you know, describing what happened. And then for some reason at the tail end, I thought, well, you know, my solar panels are still intact, because I really thought that they were going to fly right off, but they didn't. So that was good. So a majority of the people liked it. I included a little video along with the song that was playing at the time the storm was happening. Pretty simple stuff. Unfortunately, or as it happens, somebody took offense to it, and my guess is, and I'll tell you why I think it was what I call an opportunistic offense, an opportunistic way to sort of just dig into me, okay? And it's very clear to me, just looking at the situation, what was going on. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot from Reddit, and I continue to learn a lot about sort of like human behavior, and that's something I'm getting a deep sense about. So somebody chimes in and says, oh, what a tone-deaf thing to say. People dying, but my solar panels are okay. And you know, if you just read the title, I can sort of see how that's the case. But you know, 98% of the people, there were like 3 people, there were like about 50 comments, and 3 people kind of like called it out and said, you know, that's a dickish thing to say, that's a dorkish thing to say, you know, insensitive and so on and so forth, right? And but before that, before they chimed in, I had made a note and say, oh, you know, I meant to say this, and I was explaining to them that I was just surprised that on a completely different level, that my solar panels didn't fall off. Just to explain the title, because after you post something on Reddit, from what I know, you can't change the title. So anyway, I wasn't able to change the title, but I was able to make a note saying, hey, XYZ, this is what I meant. I didn't want to come across as insensitive, and that's what I had written. Now, this is what I mean about being opportunistic. So these trolls, they looked at that, they looked at the title, didn't read anything else, and decided just to sort of like say, oh, what a horrible person you are. They didn't say anything about the van build, and then they were kind of saying that I'm just some guys cosplaying as a van lifer and cosplaying as XYZ. And I thought, wow, these are like really, really hateful people. And so I did something. I thought, okay, first of all, let's really listen to what they're trying to say. So I read what they said, and they seem to be around the same kind of individual. There are 3 things I learned about trolls on Reddit, and I'm going to give them to you. 3 things I learned about trolls and social media, and I think this applies across the board. I think what's really interesting about my little van life journey, my van build, I am learning so much about myself. I'm learning so much about other people. I'm learning, okay? So here's what I learned when it comes to social media and trolls. And I am sure that if you have a van channel or any kind of YouTube channel, I am certain you're going to agree with this. Okay, now in no specific order, here's what I learned. I said 3 things, right? Okay, so one of the things I learned is these trolls rarely read the thread so that they can get a better understanding of what is actually being said, what is actually being communicated. And there's a reason for that. There's a few reasons for that. I think the first reason is they don't want their mind changed. They want to make sure, here's what I think of this person, and I don't want anything to somehow affect my reasoning why I dislike this person, why I'm jealous of this person, or why I'm this way about this person. So that's one thing they do. They don't read the thread. Because if they read the thread, there could be something in there that could actually add more definition, more clarity to what it is they're complaining about. The thing is, they don't want that. What a troll wants is they want a reaction from you. Okay? And I'm going to tell you later on what my reaction was. So that's what they want. That's what a troll doesn't do. They don't want. They just want to go in there. They want to stick their knife into you, swish it around a bit, take it out, then stab you again. That's what trolls do. A lot of them are very unhappy people. They're hateful people. They're jealous people, and that's something I learned just off the bat. Just a majority of them are like that. There's a very rare troll that is a happy troll. Maybe that's why they're called trolls, right? They're unhappy people. So anyway, as it turns out, I'm going to give you number 2, another reason why. Excuse me. I'm going to give you another thing about trolls. Another thing I learned about trolls. So that's the first thing. They just go in there, they stab at you. They say something totally doesn't even make sense. Oh, here's something else. This may not be a number 2 or number 1 or a 3, but here's something I noticed as well. If you attempt to try to reason with a troll, try to sort of like bring them out, they're not interested in that. They're just interested in spreading their hate to other people. Okay, so that's one thing for sure. So anyway, so one of the trolls that chimed in, I decided, okay, well, whenever somebody posts something really nasty on social media, whether it's to one of my friends or to me, one of the first things I ask myself is, who is this person? What's this person about? Are they legitimate? Well, wouldn't you know it? Wouldn't you know it? what I ended up doing was I checked out their profile. So I checked out their profile, and one thing for sure is trolls, the ones that I saw, had a very high, what's called karma count, okay, on Reddit. So they have a high karma count. They have usually a 0 awardee count, like they don't award anything to anybody. And if you look at their posts and the replies, it has a common thread. There's this commonality in all their posts, and it's negative, and more negativity. You'll also notice that some of their posts will usually, okay, get moderated or even removed in some cases. This is what I noticed about all 3 trolls that chimed in, almost like a little amigos. The 3 troll amigos, okay? Troll amigos, okay? And so that's what I noticed about them. And already some of them, just by looking at their posts, their replies, I'm already at the top of my mind thinking, wow, this is a miserable person who's sick in the head, who wants to spread the hate. There's this one person, misogynistic, all they talked about was incredibly lewd conduct. One of them also threatened to kill a child, which is really, I can already tell you at that point, I'm thinking, okay, this explains it. So that's one thing I noticed about trolls, okay? They're really very unhappy people, and just by looking at their profiles, you're going to get an idea of what they're kind of like. So so far there's 2 things, okay? So another thing about a troll is, and by the way, I'm going to tell you how to respond to a troll. Another thing about a troll is when you try to engage them, and I think I mentioned this earlier, they're not interested in a resolution. They're just interested in trying to sort of rile you up, okay? And there's only so much you could do. So the best reply to a troll, and everybody knows this is what you're supposed to do, but few people do it. I know I don't always do it because I'm like, boy, you didn't have to say that. But you know what I realized? The more I'm on social media, the more I realize one of the best defenses is to ignore and block that person. And they've actually done us a favor as content creators, YouTubers, social media people, individuals who post. They've done us a huge favor in that they have effectively outed themselves. Trolls have outed themselves to be jerks. So at that point, you just block them. And it's so easy to block nowadays, right? So what I did was I ended up blocking them. Now, their posts will remain, and some people chime in, and that's okay. And remember, I think it was Lucille Ball that said it, was not everybody will like you, but not everybody matters, do they? And I think what matters is the people who are close to you, the people who love you, your friends, and they're just a tiny, tiny speck in the grand scheme of things. So while, yeah, sure, they'll evoke some emotion from me, I don't want to spend any more time with it. It's a good 2 or 3 minutes where you're like, ah, but that's pretty much it. Because it's happened to me so many times. When I was younger, I would really literally stew over it. Now it's like, you know what? I don't have a lot of time. Time is our most valuable asset, right? And, you know, being able to use our time wisely is really, really important. And using your time wisely to further who you are as a person, to make yourself feel good, to make yourself be encouraged. I think that's the most important thing. That's rather one of the most important things, okay? So in terms of dealing with trolls, the best way I could say it over and over again is just block them. And a majority of the Reddit community, I'm pretty happy with. I'm very happy with. But you will always get those trolls. I mean, there's millions of people on Reddit. I mean, you can't expect everybody to like you. I think that'd be so unrealistic. So, in my viewpoint, I'm okay. I pretty much went on. And so today, I thought I'd go for a little drive and, you know, spend some time on another episode of Tales from my Minivan camper, Silver Camp. Silver Cabin. I can't even say my own channel right. Silver Cabin. So that's what I've got right now.